A mother has to carry out an impossible mission for the army to save her daughter. We'll see what happens next in today's recap of the film Black Crab. Welcome back to Cinema Recap. Make sure to leave a like and also subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this one. Now, let's get on with the video. The film starts with Caroline, who's stuck in traffic with her daughter. Suddenly, people around them start panicking, and Caroline can hear gunshots. She tries to hide with her daughter in the back seat, but the soldiers capture them. This is how the war started, and now, some years later, Caroline is fighting with the resistance against the invading army. She has been ordered to return to her hometown, and after getting off the train, Lieutenant Newland picks her up. They're supposed to go to the base, but Newland drives into the slums and goes inside a shady-looking building. That's a dangerous place, and Caroline knows this, so she steps outside the vehicle while holding her gun. Her fears come true when some people try to attack her, and she has to shoot them to save herself. She instantly drives away from there, leaving Newland behind. She gets to the base where soldiers stop her, and after explaining the whole thing, a lieutenant takes her to the waiting room. There, she meets Granvik and Malik, both of whom were also ordered to come here on short notice. They are joined by Karimi, who left his fiancée behind before coming there. After a few moments, they meet with Commander Rod, who tells these soldiers that the enemy is about to win the war. The only chance they have is to get some mysterious capsules to a base in Odo. The only way to get to the facility is by skating on the frozen sea to cross the enemy territory. Caroline explains that skating for 100 miles is pretty much a suicide mission. The mission doesn't make sense to her, but Rod shows Caroline a picture of her lost daughter who was rescued from a prison camp in Odo, and this information gives Caroline the push to join the mission. That night, Caroline dreams about surviving a bombing raid with her daughter, and just then she wakes up to realize that the base is really getting bombed by the enemy. A female officer tells them to gear up as they have to start the mission Black Crab right now. So they all leave the base, but bullets are flying everywhere, and they barely make it to the docks. There, Caroline learns that Newland will also be accompanying them. Rod warns them not to open the capsules under any circumstances before ordering them to start the mission. With the base burning behind them, the small team of soldiers start skating on the frozen sea. They skate for hours, and as the sun comes up, they make a stop to decide what to do next. They are being led by a female officer who wants to continue skating, but as soon as she makes a move, the ice beneath her cracks and she falls into the freezing water. She's the one carrying the capsules, so Caroline jumps into the water behind her. Caroline cuts the straps of the dead officer's backpack and brings it back to the surface, but she is going into shock due to the cold. The other soldiers help her up, and they quickly make it to the shore and take refuge inside an abandoned farmhouse. They burn some furniture to warm Caroline, even though the smoke can attract the enemy. The fire helps Caroline regain her composure, but she's mad when Malik proposes Newland as the new team commander. Caroline thinks that Newland has some ulterior motive and she doesn't trust him, but since he's the highest rank, she has to obey his orders. That evening, the soldiers fall asleep, and when Caroline wakes up, she hears a strange noise. She runs out of the farmhouse to see a helicopter coming their way, while Karimi is trying to contact someone on the radio. She quickly tells others to get out of the farmhouse, and as soon as they make it out, the helicopter destroys the farmhouse by firing a missile. They stay hidden because some foot soldiers are searching for them, but as soon as they are in the clear, Caroline tells everyone that Karimi might be a spy. She thinks that Karimi was trying to contact the enemy on the radio, but Karimi says he was just trying to see if his fiancée is okay. Caroline doesn't believe his story, but Newland lets Karimi live, and they start skating again. They're making good progress as the night falls, but out of nowhere, one of them hits something on the ice and falls. When they take a look around, they are shocked to see a lot of dead bodies frozen in the snow. This sight shocks all of them, but they have to keep moving. They stop near an ice wall to catch their breath, but the chopper finds them again and starts shooting at them. It's following Caroline, and she is doing her best to evade the bullets that are flying her way. She makes it to the shore and hides under a wooden bridge as the helicopter turns around. The other soldiers find her and they decide to hide for a few hours. So they get to a nearby village and start searching the buildings. And this is when they come across a couple hiding in a boat shed. The old couple explains that they stayed behind because they knew they were not going to make it to the refugee camps. They offer some food to the hungry soldiers, but while they're eating, Caroline sees a gun hiding under the table. The old man knows what Caroline saw, and she signals him not to do anything stupid, but he still pulls the trigger and the soldiers have to shoot down the old couple. In the crossfire, a bullet grazed Malik, while another one hit Karimi in the head and took him out. This is a big blow to their morale, but Newland orders them to get out of there so they can resume their mission. They're back on the snow skating, but they soon realize that Malik's wound is bad and he's bleeding too much, so they decide to hide inside a stranded ship. After they get inside, Granvik starts freaking out about what happened to Karimi. He gets angrier when Caroline says they have to leave Malik behind because he will slow them down. All of this pushes Granvik to open the capsules to see why they're risking their lives. And this is when they see the biological weapon inside it. Newland knows that it's some kind of virus, and Malik tells him that if they take the virus to Odo, millions of lives will be in danger. After Granvik calms down, Caroline starts checking the ship for intruders, and this is when she notices some vehicles coming her way. However, when she goes inside to warn others, she notices that Malik shot himself in the head because he didn't want to be a part of this mission anymore. After seeing this, Caroline grabs the capsules and starts skating again. But after only a mile or so, she comes across a batch of ice that's not fully solid. She tries to cross it, but falls down, almost breaking the ice. However, Newland and Granvik get there, and they use a rope to drag Caroline back. The three of them know that they have to keep moving forward, so they use ropes to help each other as they cross the ice. After some time, Granvik slips and falls. Caroline's trying to get him up when some enemy soldiers fire flares into the sky, which gives out their position. After this, they start shooting at Caroline and the others, and Granvik has to take a do-or-die shot to put an end to all the gunfire that's coming their way. After the fighting stops, Caroline goes to the shore to check the bunker, but all the enemies are dead. Most of them died due to the cold. Caroline and the rest take shelter inside the bunker for the night. The next morning, Caroline wakes up to realize that Newland has already left with the capsules. When she tries to look for him, she spots almost a dozen enemy soldiers coming her way. She tries to push the enemy away with Granvik, who is a good marksman. They're using grenades and all kinds of firepower, and one by one they take out almost all of the enemies. Caroline is trying to eliminate the last enemy with a grenade, but the enemy shoots her in the stomach, and the grenade falls inside the bunker. Granvik tries to get it out, but it explodes and throws Caroline away. After coming back to her senses, she checks on Granvik, but he's already dead. She grabs a gun and goes back onto the ice to look for Newland. After skating a few hundred yards, she can see Newland up ahead. She asks him to stop, and when he doesn't listen to her, she shoots him in the back. She goes up to him and grabs the capsules. He tells her that they have to destroy that virus, otherwise they will be responsible for all the death it will bring. Caroline, on the other hand, just wants to see her daughter, so she starts walking towards her destination, and after a lot of hallucinations, she eventually comes across some friendly soldiers who are from the Odo base. Just then, Caroline passes out, and this time, she sees how her daughter was taken by the enemy soldiers right in front of her eyes. When she wakes up, she finds herself in a hospital. The doctors tell her about her injuries, and after a couple of days of rest, she goes to meet with Base Commander Nord, who promotes Caroline and also gives her a lot of medals for her bravery. Newland is also there, and he looks injured as well. At this moment, Caroline asks Nord about her daughter, and this is when she finds out that the army lied to her, and that her daughter was never in Odo. This pushes Caroline over the edge, and she starts beating Nord before Newland intervenes and tries to calm her down. Caroline is now starting to see what she has done, so she steals a scalpel from a nurse and goes to meet Newland. She tells him that they have to destroy the virus at any cost, otherwise innocent people will die. Newland is also feeling guilty about his role in all of this, so he agrees, and the two of them try to look for the lab. They ask a soldier to escort them, and using his pass, Newland and Caroline make it to the floor of the lab. However, before they enter the lab, two soldiers stop them. Caroline tries to kick them, but when they try to call for backup, she stabs one of them in the neck before shooting the other one with his own gun. After this, they enter the lab and threaten the workers to show them where the virus is. A lab worker takes them to a hidden room and gives them the capsules, but the soldiers are already approaching. So Caroline and Newland raise the emergency alarm and use hazmat suits to escape the lab without being detected. They are almost out, but Caroline's wound is bleeding profusely, and she can't even stand up. Newland drags her to the helipad, but when he tries to get help for her, Nord gets there and asks Caroline to hand over the virus. At this point, Caroline grabs a grenade and starts walking towards the edge, while Newland gets into the helicopter and flies away. Nord tells Caroline that the only way to end the war is to use that virus, but Caroline says that using the virus will only create more wars. So she jumps from the ridge and pulls the pin, which causes the grenade to explode. She dies in the process of destroying the virus, and Newland watches all of this as he flies away. The film ends with Newland finally sitting down with tears in his eyes as he thinks about Caroline's sacrifice.